is how the story goes. We find out by the treasure in the grand line, there's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing, I'll be king of the pirates, I'm gonna be king.
Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring to you a video on the best Charge Master guide, the new Elemental Bow meta, as this video analyzes what are the new skills of Mysterious Driftstone K. And Charge Master increases the elemental or status value of a charged attack. Now, as with any video that when you have Driftstones, you know, important disclaimer, drift smelting is extremely expensive and time consuming. Ensure you are listening to advice from credible sources. In other words, don't listen to someone that just copies and pastes and tells you, hey, this is Driftsmelt build. By the way, I can't break it down. Or two, I don't even have the gold Driftsmelt medal, or I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to drift smelting because I don't drift smelt or insta smelt a lot myself. If you're experienced at something, why haven't you gotten, like, at this point, even people at Instasmelt, like, casually, you should at least have the silver Driftsmelt medal. If they can't show that to you, please don't listen to them. As you see, the odds right here are insanely low. 3.3% for the Driftstone K, and there's a 5% of you getting everything else. So, be sure you are spending resources wisely, and again, you are listening to advice from credible sources. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, here's Charge Master's skill description. So it increases weapons elemental value by 70% and abnormal status buildup by 40% when using charge attacks at level 5. So this is at full power when you have it at level 5. This is a Time Charger version for elemental/status weapons. Time Charger increases raw attack power value by 70%, so again, this is just the elemental equivalent. And this skill is huge because it doesn't require you to time your charge attacks like Charm Charger does. So for Time Charger, you have to make sure it's a well-timed charge attack. So for this one, for charge weapons with element or status, you don't need to do that, which is actually pretty cool because if you don't have that skill to time it, and it's actually kind of annoying, and it takes a lot to get used to, then this one is way better than Time Charger. Not like damage is even, but as far as the skill gap, yes, it's very different. Next up, we have the Charge Master data comparison example. So, unfortunately, MHN.Quest right now doesn't have Charge Master in the damage comparison tool, so I can't put it in here. So I'm just going to do some manual maths here. There's some hidden variables that I can't calculate because the tool does. So, if we take the Kushala Frostwind 3 bottom build and add 70% to that elemental value, we get this 2304 plus 2502 equals 4806. This is likely off because, like I mentioned, there are variables that I can't take account for that the tool will account for. So if we put that into account, it's probably likely going to be higher than the Elemental Attack 5 build, or pretty dang close to it by like probably, if I predict 5 to 10%, but 70% is just too huge. So it would overtake the Elemental Attack 5 build. So this would be the meta. And I'm just using Time Charger 5, as you see right here, as an example. So if Time Charger 5 is stronger than the Elemental one, then it would be pretty dang close if we put it up value-wise. However, unless you really wanted to drift smelt into every build, there's no reason for you to really give up your fully Elemental drift smelted builds for full Charge Master builds. I already have my Ice one built, so I'm probably not going to switch it out. Again, you don't need it. It's a nice app, so you probably don't need it, but I'm still going to go for after it anyways. Since Charge Master increases weapon value, it does work with Critical Element as well. Critical Element works with your weapon value, not with your elemental value. So because it's that with your weapon value, it does work with Critical Element, which is great. However, for melee, the only build I actually recommend is Critical Element, because melee weapons don't do as well as super weapon bows, so it's not worth all the smelting and pain. Like literally, if you do regular elemental ones, like the Kushala one and everything, just for one particular element for melee, it's not worth it. The super bows it is, because the super bows are the strongest elemental weapons in the game as for their respective element. So that's why for super bows and for Charge Master as well, this was tailor-made for bows and super bows in general. And this brings us to the best Charge Master Critical Element melee build. So this is the classic Critical Element build with melee. And there's two ways for you to get it. If you have the Carnival 2024 mail from the Shibuya event, you can use the build, or you could use the build with the Nargacuga mail if you don't have it. So there's two different ways, which is great. And this only works with melee weapons / styles that have a charge attack. Example, the hammer or longsword styles like Sacred Sheath. So unless you're doing one of those, you're not going to get the most out of Charge Master. However, because this is a universal element, so this works with every elemental weapon, definitely the best for Charge Master. So this is what you definitely want to go to as a melee user. For this build, you need the Silver Rathalos helmet at grade 8, either the Nargacuga mail at grade 8, or the Carnival 2024 mail at grade 8, either the Great Rugi Vambraces at grade 6, or the Azaratlos fan braces at grade 6, the Pink Wrathing Coil at grade 8, as well as the Silver Rathalos Greaves at grade 8, and all 5 slots will have Charge Master. Next up, we have the best Charge Master Critical Element Bow build. So we did melee, now we have the Critical Element Bow build. Here's the classic version, and sadly, there's no way to get Charge Master 5 right now and Focus 5. Even if you plop every combination together, this is the best combo for Critical Element. And we don't want to give up Weakness Exploit because even with the Silver Rathalos bow, if assuming we're using the highest increase right now, that's only 50%. So it's not super consistent. The only reason it works so well is because damage. The damage is so high if you manage to proc everything. However, the thing about it is Charge Master is also more consistent in Critical Boost. Because with Critical Boost, it requires you to land critical hits on weak spots. So because of that, we don't really need that. It's a permanent boost as long as you're using a charge attack for Charge Master. So Charge Master is better than Critical Boost. Consistency-wise, damage-wise, you can argue that, but when you have both, Charge Master overall is better. And for this build, you need the Silver Rathalos Helmet at grade 8, Nightshade Palmu Mail at grade 8, Azaratlos Fan Braces at grade 6, the Rajang Coil at grade 8, and the Silver Rathalos Greaves at grade 8, with 4 Charge Master smelts into the slots you're able to, because with Rajang Coil, you can't just smelt into it. Next up, we have the best Charge Master Elemental Bow build. So again, it only works for bow, not for melee. And Charge Master right now can work for 2 bow elements right away thanks to their Elder Dragon armor counterparts. And these 2 Elder Dragon weapons for their elements are Kushala Daora for ice and Namiel for water. Namiel more so because it does have the 20% boost, but Kushala Daora because when you use that build, it does carry the Kushala Frostwind 3, you want to use that. And the good thing is, if you look at the parts for these builds, 3 parts are interchangeable. So for these builds, 3 are the same. So you only have to Driftsmelt into 7 pieces. 7 pieces is still a lot. I remember last time when I went after Time Charger, I did 14 pieces? So 7's still not great, given it only took me a week, but it was a whole lot of insta-smelts. So unless you get really lucky. But yeah, for these builds, here's what you're going to need. For Kushala, you need the Azaratlos Helmet at grade 8. For Namiel as well, you need the Azaratlos Helmet at grade 8. You need either the Kushala Daora Mail at grade 8 or the Namiel Mail at grade 8, depending on which one you're using. Both will use the Kushala Daora Van Braces at grade 8, because Evade Extender is amazing. Regardless of it, it is amazing. Having that +1, either Kushala Daora Coil at grade 8 or the Namiel Coil at grade 8, and both will use the Gyrototus Greaves at grade 8. And all of the smelts, slottables, will be Charge Master. Again, these are interchangeable, so you're going to save a whole lot of pain being able to rotate, only if you want those 2 elements, like ice and water. I plan on doing this just because I have both. So unless you have the resources to, you can go right ahead, but these 2 are going to be factually very powerful, and Namiel will definitely be useful for Brutigrex coming up. Next up, we have the Charge Master status data analysis. So we went after element. Well, why am I not promoting status? Well, Charge Master isn't worth it for status buildup. The thing is, Time Charger is still the meta as raw attack boost is ridiculous. Here we have an example with Time Charger 5. There's a whole reason I went after that thing, because if you look at it, even if you mess up a little bit, it's a lot. As you see right here, it's a 35%, 36 if you round it up, attack difference. It is insanely hard to beat Time Charger plus paralysis / poison exploit damage. In other words, it's just not worth it. 40% isn't a lot, and the thing is, the way status works is status gets harder to inflict as you proc it. So building the proc rate wouldn't matter so much as damage would. So you'll probably get 1 more proc off, etc., but you still need to do damage to take out said monster if you're doing it solo. Or in group, your damage is still relevant. Your teammates are going to have to make up for whatever you can't do. But yeah. You see, it's just too much of an enormous difference. Because of that, there's no data or situation that justifies you should give up Time Charger or any other attack skill for more poison buildup, or not poison, well, poison, status, poison, anything status related, there's no point. And here's why you don't need Charge Master for status. Here's an example against 10-star Gold Rothian for the trials, you know, because people that are credible actually finish this, and I did it with the Camellia's Bow, which I'm literally, I think the only creator I've seen that literally has done it with the Camellia's Bow with a booty Driftsmelt build. This was before Time Charger was a thing, by the way. That's why you don't see it activating. As you see right here, 3 pieces of Camellia's gear is enough to proc poison without any extra boosts. In addition, Tiasha Blast Powder is also the same. Along with that, if you're using Gunlance or Worm Stake Shot, you don't need any status boosters. To summarize, increasing status buildup isn't as important as damage. The gear pieces / weapon mechanics are enough for it to proc. So it just doesn't work well for status. I already told you why for the data before. Here's just more reason why. You already have good stuff for status procking. Why do we need to build onto that? And hopefully this video helps you with your Charge Master, not Time Charger. I'm getting all these mixed up. Charge Master builds. As putting Charge Master and Focus in the same Driftstone is pretty nuts, so expect to spend a lot of time and resources. Unless you get really lucky. Like, I'm gonna do a whole lot of drift smelting this week. But it kind of breaks my back because I already literally did that for Time Charger. I drift smelted 2 full drift smelt builds, actually 3 full drift smelt builds, and more flex pieces. So this is a lot of, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. With that being said, please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for YouTube algorithm. I really hope does help you out. And I wish you the best of luck in your drift smelt, you know, for you credible or you crazy ones trying to go after these builds or full builds. Good luck on your grinds as well and all your drops, and I will see y'all on the next video.